Hello, dominants and submissives. I'm Master Zahn, and today is lecture number 13 Having a Dynamic with Kids in the House Ways to Make It Work. There's a lot of challenges in making a dynamic, but none as important or as common as trying to make a dynamic fit in with family life. The challenge is not exposing kids to BDSM activities while keeping a dynamic going on around them. Activities can either take place while the kids are out, asleep, or otherwise occupied. But then there are exception ages kind of thing. My youngest is just about to turn 1. When Six and I go to a munch, we take her with us. We'll probably stop between 1.5 and 2 when she's old enough to start asking questions and wondering who our friends are. Our Six's oldest, my stepson, is 17, so he can pretty much be left on his own. If he's with his friends, he's not going to come knocking on the door or trying to see what's up, asking lots of questions like who's your friend, why did you start wearing a collar a couple of years ago, things like that just don't come up with him. 17 is not one of the problematic ages, neither is 1. But we have another boy, a 13-year-old. Now this is in the problematic age range. He's very attached to his mother. If you close a door, it's not going to be long until he knocks asking something. If you have people over, it's not going to be long until he asks who they are. But he's never asked about Six's collar, but we do have set responses for things like that. Now, the trick is to work activities around the kids being there and to have things set up so that when the opportunity presents itself, you're able to. Even if you have a 24/7 dynamic, that doesn't mean that you always have to be having activities going on. The dynamic can still be running around everything. Now, some of the problem age range is really 5 to 15 when they can't be left alone and need all the attention. But you can still have, like I said, things set up. If you have a plant hook in a walkway, let's say, that can be used for quick bondage. Or in the kitchen, if you have 2 towel rings, those can be used as restraints. Nobody has to know why you put them there, just that they're there. They won't be questioned, and they look right in that place and can be very fun. Now, keeping a dynamic with kids running in the house actually isn't hard. A couple of word changes here or there, or a couple of stock answers can handle most things. I don't have my husky here. I trained Six back at the start as a dark pet, but we don't have an actual dog. But we do have a dog bed in the living room. We placed it right in between the couch and the table. Now, when the youngest son saw this, Six was worried that he would start asking questions, so she just sort of explained that it's a nice soft place to sit. The table's a bit far away from the couch. Don't like leaning over. Can sit there and feed Sakura. We just had ways set to answer why we had a dog bed set there. In the case of a collar, let's just say, a stock answer of because he likes the way it looks or I like the way it looks can take care of it. Now, if they're a bit older and asking questions, you'd be able to say something like, because we love each other, or that's just what some people do. Now, the younger the child, the more likely it is that they're going to accept a stock brush off answer. Otherwise, you have to actually think of something that will take care of their curiosity without exposing them to anything. Now, our boy, the 13-year-old, once asked, can I go to coffee with you and your friends? And we had to tell him no. And so he was wondering why. And so we ended up telling him, because your grandma wants to spend time with you. So when we're going for coffee, this is her chance to spend time with you. Just all these little things can build up so that the dynamic doesn't have to end. Set protocols and commands, single word orders, things that will be done without having to be told even, are other ways to make it work. If your submissive always makes you a coffee, then it still won't seem out of place for them to make you a coffee. If they normally sit at your feet, again, if they're just resting their head on your lap, it doesn't look out of place like submissive. It just looks like somebody cuddling up and resting their head. Now, when you have kids in the house, there are always going to be certain unique challenges. The same way that every person and dynamic is unique, every child is unique. And so the questions that they'll come up with will sometimes surprise you. Most of them can just be brushed off with because we love each other and that's what we like, or that's what some people do. It's not always going to work, and sometimes you do have to be extra careful if you know how smart your child is. But these are just some ideas for how to try to structure a dynamic or activities around having kids there. Just have things set up so that you can use it when the time presents itself and have things pre planned out responses, commands, protocols. And you never have to really drop the dynamic or the activities or role just because you have kids. Lots of people tend to think it's impossible, it's wrong, it just won't work. But if you stop and think about, say, a goth girl, they normally have a collar. Well, how is it more appropriate for them to be all dressed in goth and have a collar than for someone to just have a collar and say, I just like the look of it and I don't want the whole other goth outfit? I know this isn't the most informative lecture that I've done, but I do feel that's an important one, and I hope it's given you some ideas. The next lecture is going to be being a better Dom, beyond the basics. I hope you'll tune in for it. I'm Master Zahn. Thank you for watching.